A latest industrial tussle has emerged at the Dangote Refinery, this time between him and NUPENG. What is the true situation right now after a recent reconciliation between Dangote and Pengerson? What are the true details of the agreement between Dangote and NUPENG? What is the reconciliation between Dangote and Pengerson? What's the current state at the refinery? How did he compromise? Hello guys, and thank you for joining us on this latest edition of The Context. I'm Ibrahim Ismail. On today's episode, our focus is on the latest crisis between Dangote Refinery and NUPENG, Association of Drivers Union in Nigeria. Right now, it seems they are not okay with how Dangote used to manage his own oil transportation business. After acquiring 4,000 CNG-powered trucks to deliver petroleum products across the country free of charge for the benefit of independent petroleum marketers in Nigeria across various locations in the country. Well, in the past 1 week, we have witnessed a leadership tussle that disrupted fuel supply in Nigeria. I'm referring to the impasse between Pengerson and Dangote Refinery, where Pengerson embarked on a nationwide strike which crippled the supply of fuel and gas products across the country. Now, they have settled this dispute, but there are quite some issues that we need to understand before we take a deep dive into the latest leadership tussle, the latest industry crisis between Dangote and NUPENG, the drivers associations. There is quite a number of issues we need to address now. This issue is, what are the contents of the agreement reached between Pengerson and Dangote Refinery after the federal government intervened last week? Well, there are quite a number of items I identified after studying this rift between Dangote and the Pengerson Union and after attending the reconciliation meeting. On today's episode, there are 4 key issues we need to understand regarding the recent agreement between Dangote and Pengerson before we take a deep dive into the latest impasse between Dangote and NUPENG, the Petroleum and Gas Drivers Association in Nigeria. Okay, these 4 key issues actually dominated the recent negotiation between Dangote and Pengerson. Point number 1 is that Dangote's offer to Pengerson. Dangote has made an offer to the members of Pengerson, those that are working at his refinery in Lagos, because he is afraid of sabotage, and he accused them of being saboteurs, and that's why he sacked them. He wants to get rid of them and then allegedly try to replace them by 2,000 Indians, according to Pengerson. Okay, the agreement is that Dangote Refinery tried to, according to some sources, Dangote Refinery made an offer to Pengerson members that are working at his refinery because he don't want them to be back at his refinery after sacking them due to what he termed as sabotage. Now, what is this offer? The offer is for them to get 5 years salaries. All of them, there are 800 of them. And then Dangote is offering to pay each and every one of these 800 workers that were sacked at his refinery to get their complete salary and benefits for 5 years without doing any work. Yes, that was the offer made by the Dangote Refinery to members of the Pengerson that were sacked from the Dangote Refinery. But then the negotiators, including the representatives of the federal government, intervened and said that, look, this one is not attainable because it's going to be a huge burden on the Dangote refinery. But the Dangote team argued that they don't care. All they want is that they don't want those 800 workers that were sacked to return to the refinery. That's why they are offering a whopping salary of 5 years to each and every member of the team that was sacked. Yeah. So, can you imagine the level of business risk that the Dangote refinery is ready to take? Because they are afraid that if they reinstated the workers, they may sabotage the refinery, they may ground the operations at the refinery. Because after the clash between Dangote and Pengerson, the Pengerson strike crippled activities at the Dangote refinery, with the halt in supply of gas and other oil products for the smooth operations of the refinery. Okay, this was the offer made by the Dangote refinery during that negotiation. And then that takes us to the second point, Pengerson's compromise. Well, the second point here is that Pengerson has compromised. Dangote too has also compromised a little. Okay, the agreement now between Dangote and Pengerson is that Dangote will retain the sacked 800 workers. He will reinstate them, but then they are not going to set their foot on the refinery ever again. Instead, what happens now, Dangote will shift their employment to some other companies of the Dangote group, a subsidiary, or some other subsidiaries of the Dangote companies. You know that Dangote is a very big business in Nigeria. The Dangote group is a large conglomerate. So they have the Dangote cement, they have different section of production in Nigeria. So they will be able to create vacancies, 800 of them, to absorb the workers, to redeploy them instead of sacking them. So this is the only compromise that the Dangote refinery has made on this matter. But then any other agreement were not made public as right now. Okay, the next point is who wins? Yeah, you will be asking, you will be wondering who wins this battle, Dangote or Pengerson. Well, the answer is Dangote has won. He has won because the overall objective of sacking the staff is for them not to be part of the refinery, because he is afraid they may sabotage his plant. They may bring the $20 billion worth of refinery down because they are alleged saboteurs. Now, taking them off from the refinery, away from the refinery, means that he actually succeeded. What next after this? Well, the next thing is for both parties to honor the agreement reached with the federal government to ensure industrial harmony and also allow Dangote refinery to function without any sabotage. Well, that's that for the last meeting between Dangote and Pengerson, which ended the strike. Now, moving forward to the next thing on this conversation is the latest impasse between Dangote and NUPENG. NUPENG is Drivers Union, Association of Petroleum and Gas Drivers, or tanker drivers, if you like. They are responsible for transporting petroleum and gas products across Nigeria. They are now face to face with Dangote Refinery due to a plan by the Dangote Refinery to deploy the 4,000 CNG powered trucks he acquired to transport petroleum product to different parts of Nigeria free of charge. As it stands, Dangote and NUPENG have disagreed. Yes. On what? on the basis of unionism. NUPENG is accusing Dangote Refinery of trying to sabotage unionism and deprive workers' right to be part of any union that they wished. Dangote is believed to have established a new truck company. Dangote is believed to have established a new logistic company to transport petroleum and gas products across the country, which some people say is being managed by his relative, Sayu Dantata, who is also part and parcel of MRS Oil Company. Now, some drivers under the Dangote's new trucking company are saying that they don't want to be part of NUPENG. They don't want to be part of the Nigerian truck drivers union who are transporting petroleum products. They want to be independent and receive their salaries. Now, the big issue here is that there were a lot of allegations that NUPENG used their own position as one of the strongest union in the oil and gas sector to get some money from the back door when trailers or trucks, tankers are meant to load some petroleum product at the gantry. They are alleged to have been charging 50,000 naira for each truck at the depot whenever a truck want to load petroleum or gas product from any refinery in Nigeria, and many believe that that was why Dangote kicked against NUPENG. Now nobody knows where this latest rift is going to end between Dangote and NUPENG. Are they going to embark on a strike that may cripple fuel supply in the country just like Pengerson? Well, nobody knows. But what do you think should be done to address this issue? If you like this video, kindly share and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching The Context.